Rock. How are you today? Hi, Christina and Tabe. How are you all doing? Hi, Rhonda. Okay, there's going to be a little movement because it's a little windy today, but we're going with the flow. We're ebbing. We're allowing the grace and the ease to move us. So the other day it was funny because I actually was standing in low tide, and then by the end of the video I was standing in high tide, and so my right foot was completely saturated with water. It was comical because I didn't even know it when it was happening until I went to lift my feet and start walking, and you know how you get that slush, you know, you're like, that's basically how my shoe was, and I was having to run it out a little bit to get a little bit of the wet out of my shoe. So Buddy's got his little spot over here. I got this sunshine. I'm along the water. I mean, literally, you can probably see it over here. I got to keep an eye on my right foot so that I'm not saturating my foot up again. Hi, David. How are you? So, if you saw my short clip earlier today, the video that I posted. Oh, now he's digging. He's digging in the sand. If you saw the short clip regarding dropping the ego, basically, and hi, Connie, how are you, darling? It's really about elevating the heart. And I think we're all so stressed out, so caught up in whatever we define as stress, as an obstacle, as a struggle, as what is hard and difficult, because these are the words we use, right? We use these words to describe what we're going through. OMG. This is really bad. Buddy, you need to stop right there. Stop. I got to stop this. This is a public service announcement. This is a struggle, and Buddy's going through it, and I'm going to show you what's going on. Buddy, you need to stop right now. You need to stop right now. I'm going to show you basically what Buddy just started attacking. See this? Horseshoe crab. Haven't seen these before? He already took off its tail. Buddy, you need to go lay down. That's not very kind. I'm going to put it back in the water where it belongs. Very scary stuff. I'm like over here going, I don't know who to be more fearful of. The dog getting the hermit crab or the horseshoe crab or Buddy. Buddy, get out of there. We're not gonna go. Go lay down. Go lay down, honey. You just scared that poor crab. Now see, meanwhile, Buddy won't go in the water. So this will be interesting. It's not an ew, honey. That was a horseshoe crab. I haven't, when I was younger, we used to see them a lot when I lived up in Massachusetts when we were little kids, and we'd see them at the beach. He looks like he's all in his glory. He's like, look, I just scored something, That's what animals do. They hunt, survival of the fittest. I get that. But we're humans. And the difference between us and animals, other than, we have animal instincts. We have the human desires, needs, wants. But we are a little bit more evolved here, people. We can choose. We have a consciousness to choose, right? We can be the higher person, which it aligns perfectly in this moment for what I'm discussing here today. So if you did get a chance to see the short clip and read what I wrote up, there was a whole lot more. And, oh, I'm so sorry, I realized. Thank you so much for pointing that out. Your Henry caught a squirrel. Yes, this is the importance. This is why I read your comments while I'm talking. Oh my gosh, you're scared. Don't be scared, Moran. And you know what? If anything, once they eat the cockroach, the taste in itself is enough to stop them dead in their tracks, no pun intended, because from my understanding, that even the animals are like, okay, that tastes disgusting, I won't be doing that again. But cats will like to play with them, right? So again, aligning with our integrity, aligning with our heart space, really stepping into our personal power and not allowing our head. Hi, Kathy and Paul, how are you? Stepping out of the head, melting the ego, and allowing it to sink deep within the heart space, because the reality is we all want to feel loved. And with all this chaos and turmoil that's going on in our lives today, especially, I don't know, do y'all feel it more intensely since this last full moon? Have you been feeling it for the past several months? I'm a subscriber. I've been going through it. You know, when you have a mind that can go into all these crazy scenarios, you also need to find a way to sit with it and not allow it to overcome you. Lasso that mind. Let it become your servant. Let it serve you in the highest form. Allow yourself to be more elevated. Be that higher person that when you can witness your thoughts, that's when you can actually control yourself. You can contain yourself and control yourself. Because we don't need to be the victims of our own minds and the circumstances of collateral damage that unfold as a result of the mind just going off in its tangent, right? Have y'all gone through that before? I said that the other day, where we feel like I'm just stressed out, you're just adding to it, and I'm going to attack you because you're just in the direct line of fire, right? I was Air Force for over 10 years. I was involved in a lot of those, very patriarchal, I've got to keep my control, my thumb down on you. It doesn't serve anyone. There are kind and compassionate ways to communicate with one another. And we don't have to attack someone else for what's going on within ourselves, because that's our own work. That's what we need to work on. If someone just happens to be in the direct line, breathing, calming yourself, right? Buddy, stop looking at the crab. I'm serious. He's looking for it, not looking at it. The crab is in the water. Pardon me just a second. I got to get him to sit back down. You need to sit, honey. Can you sit? Oh, you know what it is? Now he's excited. And look at the wind. I told you, the camera's in a tree, everyone. So just flow and move with me, right? So we're dancing a different dance today. Thank you, Maureen. So yes, ultimately, I want to ask all of you, if this resonates with you, please share it, because sharing and spreading the love is really another form that right now, today, I think is a really important message. And I'm saying it because this is what I gleaned. It's sitting in my meditation this morning. I really had a stressful difficulty sleeping last night. I haven't been live since Friday. My hair's got this whole funky thing going on, as always. And, oh no, there's another one. Don't even think about it. You're not going after that one too. This one's got a really shiny silver shell. This is crazy. You're going to leave it alone, buddy. You're going to leave it alone, honey. Oh my gosh, this is nature in action. And I truly appreciate this. Like, he is super excited about it because he's like, dude, I want to go after that. But see, that's just like us in our lives right now, right? How many of you are feeling frustrated and held back? Feel like things are like being taken or kept away from you, or you're not being allowed to do things, but in reality, maybe you're just being held in a waiting pattern, I like to call it. I truly do believe the universe works in our favor, and that if we can recognize there's a reason for it, and I'm not talking all hunky-dory, les enfers, just, there's a reason for everything. No, I'm saying there's probably a blessing in the reins being pulled back on you for the moment. Because if we react, if we jump on things, sometimes we can hinder our progress and our evolution and our growth, so that whenever you see an obstacle, don't get angry or upset with it. Sit with it and go, okay, what's this trying to tell me about myself? What is it I can learn in this moment that I need to know? Because sometimes it means you need a little bit more patience. And isn't that something we're all constantly learning? I know for myself, I wasn't patient all my life. I had to cultivate that. I was a very boom, 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 boom. I'm a quick thinker. My mind is processing so much stuff. Hey, honey. Hi, Dory. How are you? And the baby. My mind is always constantly going. So I know I don't expect anybody else to be able to keep up with me, because sometimes My mother, she gets very impatient. Oof. Amanda, I'm holding you in my heart, truly. And you saying that about your mom, as well as me mentioning that. My mom, for example, will tell, I've had conversations. My mom, we're all from Massachusetts. We talk very quickly. And at the same time, my mother would say, I have to remind myself that you're so quick to think and speak. And that actually has taught me and caused me to be more patient and to slow down, not only my words, but to reflect and watch my thoughts. Because there have been times in my past I got in trouble for speaking too quick, thinking I knew when I really didn't, assuming, and being embarrassed for speaking too quickly. How many of you can speak for that? Like my mind, my ego, my will, so strong. Boom, 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 on top of things, thinking, oh yeah, I know what they're talking about. That's ego, by the way. Ego thinks, I got this. I know what they're talking about. I bet you I even know what they're thinking. So far off. Please don't do that to yourself. I'm going to go back and forth on that one. If you think you know someone's going to say something or do something, you're only creating the discourse, the dis-ease between two individuals. And this is the premise of most of what I'm discussing today. You have to learn to show up from the heart and not from the head. The ego is going to get you in so much trouble, and it puts so much pressure not only on another person who has no ideas about these uncommunicated thoughts that you have and anticipations and expectations that they're going to show up a certain way to you. And in the end, it also causes you that extra pressure because now you're going to suffer because your expectations, whether they're met or unmet, are going to inflate or deflate your ego. Your ego can be so set up on the premise that I already know what they're going to say, I already know what they're going to do, I already expect and anticipate this scenario to play out between me and this other person. And guess what? Depending on how powerful of a manifester you are, they will prove you right. And here's why. Because you are so attached to it, you're feeding it that energy, but is that serving? That's the ego wanting to be right in the end. That's the ego wanting to say, see, I told you so. I was right. But how about this? All those people that exist in your life deserve your compassion, just as you would like in return, for you to hold the space and allow them to surprise you and don't anticipate or expect them to react or respond the way you want or think they will based on your past experiences with them or other people, because that tends to be the subject, right? That whatever it is we anticipate somebody to do is our own stuff, not theirs. And sometimes it's with somebody you know, and sometimes it's with somebody you don't know. But you got to also, again, be mindful of the thoughts that are going through your head. And what is it that's causing this need to be right? And what is causing the bubbling up of the anxiety or the anticipation that someone's going to react or snap in a certain way? See, that doesn't come from the other person. That comes from whatever's bubbling up from within you. And it's really easy for us to get set off by one little trigger in the beginning of the day, some point, and that all of a sudden it's almost like a self-sabotage like switch was turned on. Like, what the hell? I'm already pissed off. Let me just keep on going for more shit to piss me off. I'm just going to keep my focus on, since I'm already in a crappy mood and I'm impatient because of it, that I'll just allow these people to show up to me in the worst possible way, because that's what, this has already been so far in the day. And it's a horrible thing. And here's what ends up happening as a result of that. Relationships suffer, and then you suffer too. But there's a switch when you notice you're in a certain space and you notice it's coming up from this ego, which usually is triggering emotions in the physical body. It's not usually the physical body just having emotions. It's the ego going off on attachments. It's this whole idea that I want to be right versus I just want to be happy. Because the importance of whatever the scenario is usually irrelevant. It's usually what's going on within you. And people will show up to you with whatever it is you're showing up to them. 99%, or let's say 95% of the time, because there are still the people that will show up to you and just be calm. And they won't react with your reaction. The reaction that you're having, and I'm guilty of it. That's how I recognize it. That's how I know it. If I'm reacting to somebody else, how am I going to expect them to come to me? It's like I said in the video earlier. Am I coming in with an open hand to extend, a shake, a greeting? Or am I coming in with an open fist, a closed fist, and just like ready to punch and like, let's have a brawl. Let's get down and dirty. If I show up with either of those, it's gonna show up to me. And I have to take that into consideration. I have to take personal responsibility for the energy I bring, as does everybody else. Thank you, Amy. It really boils down to, what is it that you want in your life? If you truly value and want this vibrant, amazing life, you have to recognize that how you show up to someone else is exactly how the life is going to show up to you. And so I say this in the sense that sometimes we need to take it back a notch. We need to soften within. And I've spoken about that too. When we recognize, what is it I really want to have in this experience? I want clarity. I want open communication. I want dialogue. I don't want to be berated. I don't want to berate. I don't want to demean or tear down or be torn down or ripped apart. This isn't about survival of the fittest anymore, people. This truly is embracing all of that is within yourself and aligning with your personal integrity, because when you do that for yourself and you show up in your truest, authentic, highest being, you're giving others permission to do the same. And I'm going to tell you right now, sometimes it takes surrendering your own ego, even if you're not the one who is the aggressor, let's say, or the attacker. Sometimes it also takes being the higher person because you see it and they don't. And when you see it, this is the moral obligation that I've learned over the course of all my own personal experiences, all of my teachings, my trainings, and putting it into my life, applying it, integrating it. If you have a relationship that is not working out, the first question you have to ask yourself, do you really want it to work out? Because a lot of times we get complacent. And you have to ask yourself this, that we will say we want something, but more of a codependency. I want that person because I just don't want to be alone. Or we want that person to be a certain way for us to want to be with them. And that in itself just is not a true relationship and a true serving of two individuals. And then you're holding that other person hostage if you're not there just as much for yourself as you are for them and them for yourself. See, none of us needs another person to complete or make us feel better about ourselves. What we really seek in companionship and relationship is for another person to complement us. We ebb and flow, and men and women, or men and men and women, and whatever your relationship, and it could be with your best girlfriends, for example. You want to be able to be yourself. You want to allow the other person to be themselves. So again, aligning with your own personal integrity, you really need to recognize where you're at, especially up in here. The more mindful we are, the more practical we can be in applying, again, awareness. Become that observer, become the witness. All this jumbled up mumbo jumbo, this stuff that's coming up, it's only going to serve you if you're able to confront it and try. You might need to go down what we call the rabbit hole. Where did it originate? Is it really something that's relevant to the moment, or is it something from the past that you haven't healed? And that's all of us. And if you're confronted in a relationship with somebody, right, and something came up, it helps to talk it out. And you know why? Because the healing isn't going to come when you're ready. It's going to come when it's meant to. When it pops up, when it bubbles up, when it's in your face. Hello. It's like, knock, 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 McFly. Are you paying attention? It's not at your time. It's at divine time. That's why so many people are going through chaos. They're going through, like serious, like grindstone, like feeling like they're really running up against a wall. Because people aren't necessarily willing to look at the dirty stuff, to go deep within their own trenches of the mind, of their experiences, and really want to confront the past. It took me a while to really go, okay, I really do need to work on some things. And I'm constantly working on something, peeling back more and more layers. And I'm so grateful for everything that occurs in my life, because it's just another reinforcement of, okay, I know there's a purpose for this. I know there's a reason for this. And I can tell you that because I've got such a quick mind, and my mother would say that sometimes it's hard for her to take in all of my ramblings, and other people too. I know that other people can't necessarily handle me, because I got a lot that goes on, and I can process things really quickly for myself, and I recognize things not only in myself but other people, but I'm much more silent about it. I don't feel the need to point out and attack people for their stuff, because I know I'm not necessarily going to help someone grow unless they're willing to ask and show up and do their own work. I'm just here to serve in my own capacity, in my alignment of my personal self. Sorry about that. Buddy had a little licky going on. Stop it with the lickies. Oh, he's such a sweetie poof. And he reminds me, that when he's acting up, well, maybe I need to take it down a notch. Can you come over here for me? Over here. You'll get off. Oh, he's got his, oh, there you go. What a good boy. There you go. That was so cool with the crab. And so what I'm finding, whether it's in myself or witnessing it in others, because I notice if I see it in people around me, if I feel it within myself, if I feel all that stuff percolating, right, going through my mind, the more I am open. I know Byron Katie as well, yes, yeah. Loving what is. See, that really is the key. You have to embrace every aspect of yourself. And when you do, other people will actually meet up with you at that same point. And that's why self-love needs to be cultivated in every one of us. We're not immune, right? We all deserve it. The self-love that we harvest, embracing every aspect, and again, that inner child that needs the love, that feels abandoned, that maybe we forgot about. Our inner child has a lot of wisdom to share too. And you need to bring her or him out and play and remind them that I'm here for you. It's okay. And you notice in adults, not just children, temper tantrums, anger, frustration, all of that comes up because the inner child feels like it's been abandoned. And so when I see things like that in people, I really am humbled and go, wow, okay, I get it. And I see it and I honor it. And if I can embrace mine, I can embrace yours too. And that's huge, because we can't always necessarily meet ourselves where we're at unless we're aware of what's going on. So that's why I recommend meditation, why I did the 40-day Kundalini Yoga challenge, This morning we did 34. No, 30. I'm so off track on numbers. It really boils down to the more you're willing to sit with yourself, confront the thoughts, journal about it, right? It gives you that awareness into who you are, that when you can say, okay, what is this really about? There's nobody outside of you that does anything to you that you haven't already permitted and allowed through whatever the vibration of the thoughts and everything that's been processed, whether it's immediate or over a period of time. And then you know what, Amanda? Even if you can't stay focused, it's okay. What I do, because thoughts are meant to drop in, you're supposed to accept the landscape around you. And take in the sounds, witness them, focus on the sound of your breath, listen, feel it as it enters all the way deep down into the belly, expanding. And while you watch it, being mindful. If thoughts do drop in, you go back to the breath, or you know what? See the thoughts, but don't attach to them. When the thoughts drop in, it's just simply meaning, okay, are you going to keep going with the thought and keep repeating the record, right? If something is constantly going through your mind, then you need to start confronting it, even during meditation, because that's when I do it the most. Okay, why is this continually going through my head? What is this trying to tell me about myself in this moment right here? What can I learn? What can I glean? What is the lesson? What is the blessing? Because it's all there, but you need to harness it and accept it and not try to poo-poo or shove it away. Meditation is not about, I can't deal with all this other stuff. I just need to be quiet and silent. That is so not meditation. I'm just here to tell you that right now. If you achieve a true silence, stillness, and absorption of everything that's going on around you, within you, feelings, all the senses have to be engaged, right? To where you can taste it, you can smell it, you can hear it, you can see it. Doesn't mean your eyes are open, right? Feeling all of that, the senses. See, trying to make sense of things that are intangible, because thoughts are intangible. This is the irony, right? So this is another thing I was reflecting upon today. The more you're able to stop trying to make sense of things, you can really, really harness energy, because you waste energy when you try putting your focus on the ideas and the thoughts about why this person does this or why this person's that way, as opposed to all that is a distraction, by the way. Because the mind wants to go outside when you need to go inside where the heart relies. The heart knows the truth. You know your truth. You just need to shift the mind, be a little kind, and accept it all, right? It's a Harley day again, by the way. And so when you find that your mind wants to go into those judgmental spaces, we'll call it, because that's what that is. If you have somebody in your life that you feel is annoying, aggravating, frustrating, you love them, you care about them, or you wouldn't even think about them. And that includes everybody, right? If your mind goes off traipsing into the, why does that person have to be that way? And why don't they understand they need to treat me about, if you go there, you've taken yourself and given your personal power away. You are wasting energy. Brene Brown says, an inauthentic life is exhausting. No coincidence. That's not aligned with integrity. It's inauthentic. It doesn't serve you, and it has nothing to do with you. If someone is a certain way, especially towards you, that's more about why is it that person is that way to me? What am I doing to myself is the question. What am I allowing that person shows up the way they do? When you shift it, when you say, something so simple as just when the person, I may be annoyed by somebody, I just go within and I say, you know what? I choose to see the divine in this person in this moment right here. I choose to see the divine in this situation right here. And recognize that there's a blessing in it all. And if you can allow yourself to see, there's probably a lesson in it for you, that you will glean so much more wisdom into yourself. Because everybody's a mirror. Whatever they're showing you that you may be annoyed with is an aspect of yourself that you haven't worked on. It is, and with the exception of children, up to a certain age, we don't necessarily know, other than our soul knows the path we've chosen. But as parents, as people who deal with children on a daily basis, these children are always teaching us about ourselves, just as when I'm in a relationship or a conversation with a friend of mine, I'm also learning about myself. And you are the sum of the 3 people that you hang out with the most. So wouldn't you want to be around people who are going to lift your vibration, right? You don't necessarily need to be pulled down into the trenches. So it's very key to also recognize those relationships in your life. Because sometimes we also downplay ourselves too, right? We'll hang with people that actually bring us down, but it seems to give the ego a boost and say, well, at least I'm not as bad as that person. I know a lot of people like that. They feel more at ease and more comfort being around people who are lower than them. Like, it puts them on a pedestal. And that doesn't help them grow. It doesn't serve them. We all need to recognize there needs to be a, influence of someone to elevate us, and vice versa. We're needing to serve in the way to elevate others, right? Oh, thank you so much, Kelly. I love you. So I've talked a lot already, and I have more to say, but please in the comments, and share this video far and wide, wherever you think, even in groups if you can. There's some really great stuff going on with our group. I'm really excited. We're doing some really fun stuff. We're going to be unfolding and unwinding and rolling out more fun stuff in the future here very soon. Tom is going to be going live, just so you know, every night. I don't recall, for the next couple weeks or something like that. Every night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you like his videos, if they make you laugh, if they make you cry, if they make you pee a little bit, make sure that you set the business page, Ridiculously Rawthentic, to see first notifications, because he will be going live. And if you enjoy those videos, we appreciate you. And not only that, but I might do more of these short little, well, it's not really that short, is it? I may be doing more of these videos. Again, if you have any topics of conversation you would like me to discuss, please send an email to support@raw-thentic, THENIC.com, because we want to be more engaged with you. We want to know what is it that we can serve you with, right? And so support@raw-thentic.com is our email if you have any topics of conversation you would like us to discuss. Tonight at 10 p.m., Tom will be discussing the top 5 toxic cereals you'll find in your grocery store. How's that sound? So I wanted to put that earbug out there. And again, please, sharing is caring. It's all about spreading the love. You never know whose life you're going to touch just by a click of a button. I know that a lot of us are going through transitions right now. There's a lot of uncertainty in the air, and fear truly is made up. It's a construct of the mind. And fear is simply showing you something unfamiliar, because we can live in what we consider comfort and still be in discomfort, right? How many of you out there have lived a life of discomfort, dissing the comfort of your life because you just found it familiar, right? It's comfortable discomfort, right? That's addiction. So we do it, and I know because I've done it. I was in many a relationship which was just, I was comfortable, I wasn't happy, it just was there, I had something. And as a result, what transpires? We keep repeating the pattern instead of, when we confront it, when we witness what's going on, it's really within us. And the relationships and the experiences are just going to show you up, right? They're going to mirror back to you what's going on. So, show me your heart, not your head. That is the mantra today, for example, because the mind is not always kind. And you want it to be, in everything you do, through and through, in alignment with your personal integrity. This quote, I believe it came from Cameron Shane from Budokan. And my girlfriend and I always joke about it because it's so true. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. And if you apply that to when people aren't looking, that's called integrity. Alignment with what resonates, walk in your talk, not just talk in your talk. Show me in your actions. And that's how I've always been. I can tell you, I've had many a person show up in my life, promise me all sorts of stuff, and I'm just like, and I believe it when I see it. Because actions speak louder than words. But see, it also is all about the compassion and understanding. So this is where my meditation, my practice has applied into my life, that I was kind of more of a hard ass in my old days. That when I said, show me the, basically show me the money, walk the talk. I'll believe it when I see it. Actions speak louder than words. When I used to say stuff like that, I didn't necessarily have as much compassion to apply the understanding that what I was seeing through their actions that I can do now shows me more about where they're at. And instead of getting upset with somebody or nitpicking them, it's more important that I go, you know what, I will hold them to a certain point. And then when the time is necessary, there's also, you don't want to enable a behavior, but you also might need to remind them that, hey, you need to be responsible for the energy you bring to the table, you bring to the room, whenever you enter the space. That's all of us, myself included. And I'm constantly checking myself because sometimes I'm a little caught off guard. And when I am, I have to go, whoa, where am I right now? And I can tell you over the past couple of weeks, I've been going through this. And as my mind, boom, 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 the roller coaster and the stories and the constant processing and all that busyness that goes on with me, because I can accomplish a whole lot up in here that just, it baffles me too. And I also beat myself up when I don't meet my own expectations. So my past me would actually take that out and around me on other people. But now I know, okay, it's me I need to be kinder and gentler with. I need to soften. I need to give myself permission for forgiveness and accept that from myself. Because if I'm allowing myself that love and kindness, then others will also show up to me in that same respect. And I can do that for others. And I can serve in that capacity. So the more life unfolds, like I said, these past couple weeks, my mind has gone through like, quiet, want to talk. Quiet, it's time to chat, right? And this is why I find it so important, and I know that over time I've learned, it's really important to have a group, a community, people you can trust, and you don't necessarily always need to tell your partner everything if you live at home and you're married or you have a spouse. Whatever it is, you need to have people that will also hold you accountable, who can listen to you, mentors, guides, whatever you want to, somebody that will uplift you where you maybe are uplifting someone else in your life. And so when I feel the need, I reach out to my friends, to my girlfriends, because I know that sustains me and I'm able to hold space for others as well. I'm super excited because I'll be starting level 2 conscious communications. Can never get a little bit more. It's always fine tuning the communication style, right? The end of this month it'll be my 4th level 2 Kundalini yoga teacher training, and after this will be the next one, and it's authentic relationships. No coincidence. Because I feel like in my personal life, I'm really, really applying everything that I've been learning over the years, everything I'm constantly learning. And I'm extremely excited because every time I'm learning something and I'm growing from it. And especially in my personal life, I'm like, wow, okay, that came up. Then maybe I didn't know as much about myself then, but now I really know. And how is this going to unfold? And at what point? And I know I'm not the only one out there, but self-worth comes up the most. We're afraid. We're fearful of doing things. But when you take leaps of faith, you have to keep taking leaps of faith. But also know there are boundaries and limitations we need to also set for ourselves and those around us. It's the only way, again, when you do it from within, you don't go without. That we don't need to be dependent on others, that when we work on cultivate and harvesting that within us, then we're holding the space for others to do the same in their lives. I know not everything's going to be easy, but you can still have ease and grace even through whatever it is you're working through. It's just a choice. Do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? Because when that ego mind, it gets in there, and it's the one that wants to prove, it wants to debate, argue, confront, whatever word you throw on it, it's the same. Validate, it's true, the facts, that's ego. chances are, whatever the topic of conversation that is being discussed, confronted, or what have you, it's usually irrelevant. The first question is, can you talk on a neutral plane and not bring emotions into it? Because the minute emotions are in it, then you know that ego is full on in it, right? And maybe things do need to be brought up to where you're saying, this really hurt my feelings. If something hurts your feelings, don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to point out that, I didn't feel that was very kind. And here's another one. And I think this is really important because a lot of times, this is the one that gets the most overlooked. Those of you who do loving acts for other people, and I'm one to be guilty as well. I've done things for people and had an expectation, which is an attachment, to the way I hoped and anticipated they would receive the loving act or the gift. When you do a loving act or you gift something to someone, whatever it is, try to release any expectation of whatever you think the person should reciprocate, respond with. This is a huge key, and this is one of the things that will also cause argument between other people. And I say I've been guilty of it because when you attach to it and then maybe they show up and they're not so happy as you would like them to be, or you anticipated them to be happy, but maybe you are in a bad space, and so all of a sudden now you're going to react because now you're like, well, I gave you a gift and you're not even happy with it. There's so many different ways you can handle that. Maybe you need to just listen because they may give you a little bit more insight into it, or you just release it and go, you know what, I did the best I could. Why was I holding on to an expectation of how they should respond to what I felt was a generous offering? Because that will cause a lot of suffering and a lot of pain. Because sometimes we give what we think they want, when it's really something that maybe we would want, and we put ourselves in their position. And sometimes it's even helpful to just talk it out and go, well, what would you like? Or how would this be better? This is what conscious communication is about, right? Instead of getting upset or trying to make sense of it, right? If you give something to someone, just understand, not everybody's going to respond the way you would respond if that was the gift given to you or the loving act done for you. But also be open to dialogue, because that'll bring all of your relationships so much closer, right? Because you may find that, well, maybe it just needed a little tweaking. But if you're not willing to listen, you won't know. And try, because I've had this happen. I've been upset. I gifted somebody something that I felt was a rather generous amount of money spent on my part. This is in my past, and this is why I'm bringing this up. Because I had this idea that, well, they should treat it a certain way. And this is because I know when I receive a gift, I feel like it's such a blessing. I really, really take care of the things that I'm given as well as the things that I've earned, because over the course of my life, I had my parents throw a lot of my stuff from my childhood away. And I felt like, oh gosh, I want that and I want to maintain it. And is anybody else like that, where when you receive a gift, you really it's almost like you treat it like gold? I try to take care of things because that's what I would do. So if I give somebody something or I do something for somebody and they don't take care of it the way I do, or the way I used to be was that I would get upset. I mean, I would really oh, did you see that? The way they treated it, and they don't even take care of it. I know, and this is a perfect example. My dad, I've done this many, many times where I've gifted him things and I look around and I go, well, it's not like he took care of it. I feel like he didn't appreciate it or value it the way I did. Well, see, that's the thing. Other people won't necessarily value things the way you do. And again, that's all ego. You got to wash that stuff out and let go of it. And definitely don't victimize a person you just gave a gift to and just attack them about how you're supposed to be happy about it, and why are you getting upset when or why aren't you happy the way I want you to be happy, because then you've just basically negated why'd you bother, right? And I've done that too. So if I get upset because maybe I gave my sister money and she didn't spend it the way I thought she was going to spend it and it was very frivolous, it's pointless to start that argument, isn't it? You need to let that stuff go. When you gift somebody something, you have relinquished the ties. So release it. Cut the string. It's not yours anymore. You gave it. And it should always be an offering from your heart, because otherwise it will cause your suffering. So again, show me your heart, not your head. I love you all. Again, 10 p.m. tonight for the next couple weeks. Make sure you're tuning in and you're seeing live notifications on the Ridiculously Authentic page. We want to see you there. Don't be square. Share this video in groups or wherever you may think people can benefit. I'm all about serving and spreading the love. I love you all. Have an amazing Thursday evening. I got to run home. I'll see you there. I love you.